Brady, I'm sure you're well aware, and everyone's bringing it up this week. 20 years since the Bush push, man. I mean, what do you remember about that infamous day in South Bend?
Oh, man. Well, first off, thanks for having me on. 20 years, I forget how old I'm getting. I just remember that week. I remember everything that led up to it. You know, the campus felt different. There was such an electric buzz. And you guys know, like, the fans usually start showing up like Thursdays, you feel it. It was like Tuesday that week where you got a lot of people around campus. You kind of felt the buzz. The pep rallies before, I mean, it was so big back then. You know, we took it in the stadium. I mean, the stadium was half full for the pep rally. And so you understood the magnitude of the game. Charlie surprised us with the green jerseys. So that was pretty neat, too, going out and warm-ups in our, traditional blue and then coming back in. And you see that these, like, hunter green, I'm not exactly sure the color, jerseys in your locker, which fired a lot of guys up. And honestly, like, the grass grown out, the way we kind of, try to run the ball, control the clock, limit the amount of times Matt and Reggie had the opportunity to touch the football in that game. And, the game really was going the way I think, Charlie wanted to kind of control the game. And being that was his first year as the head coach, for us, we're still buying in to everything that he was preaching to us. And I think it was, really one of those moments that was at halftime. We're like, this is the number one team in the country. They won back-to-back national championships. We're following this dude. Like, everything he's saying right now is coming true. So I just remember a lot of the emotions tied to it. And then even just down the stretch, those final, let's say, 5 minutes of the game, I remember just the 2-minute drive we kind of had going down, maybe scoring almost too fast. At least that's how I felt after running it in. But also Charlie saying, like, that was the play he had kind of designed and dialed up for me to be able to run it in. And that was supposed to be the play that won us the game. Unfortunately, too much time for Matt. And I guess you'd say Reggie, even though it was Dwayne Jarrett up the sideline, to ultimately come back in what was, I don't want to say it was the start of the tush push, but Reggie definitely gave Matt's tush a good old push to get in the end zone. So a lot of, like, heartbreak, mixture of emotions, and just, for my career, like, that would have been the game that ultimately allowed us to go play for a national championship. But it also, I think, gave us a lot of belief, too, in what, during my couple of years with Charlie Weiss was there, like, what we were kind of building, what we had.
What do you think happens to this series?
I think it gets renewed. And I've made comments about this before because I've spoken to kind of both sides about this. And look, I'm on the Notre Dame side. Like, I don't think anything should change about it. I do feel like Southern Cal's being a little bit chicken about this. But, everything is changing in college football. And it feels like the one thing that has it is Notre Dame's independence and Notre Dame finding its way to be able to play for a national championship amongst all of this. And I do think there might be a point in time where we have to make a consideration where we say, look, if this is going to work, we may have to play it in the first 3-4 weeks of the season, maybe at a neutral site, or maybe it's a home and home. I don't know how they're going to figure it out, but I do think there could be a world where if we want to extend it, that might be the only way we go about doing it. So I want to extend it. And look, I played against them arguably during the greatest era ever, where we didn't beat them. But NIL now is real. And we've seen how that's leveled the playing field, I think, for a lot of teams out there, but in particular, some of those rivalries versus Southern Cal.